Thank you very much, Mohammed, and thank you for the invitation to join this very important panel. I would like to start by saying that we face a major threat as humanity in regards to the whole issue of climate change. But the issue of climate change and the necessary pressure that needs to be put by societies all over the world requires freedom. It requires freedom of assembly and freedom of speech. And I will, on this occasion, refer to the previous speaker, the member of the Labour Party, and say that in reality, climate justice is inextricably linked to the issue of open and active civil society. Of course, our priority, and that is my emphasis throughout COP27 and before it and after it, is that all countries, all societies are required to take action to ensure as much as possible that we save this world. But in order to do so, we need to mobilize millions across the world. Why do we need to mobilize millions? Because we need to ensure that governments are held accountable. Imagine what the previous speaker said in regards to the UK or the US or any democratic country. Is he proposing that civil society does not pressure and hold its government accountable for what it does or does not do regarding climate change? What we're asking is for Egyptians to be free, for the activists in prison to be free, for the 60,000 political dissidents that did not have a fair trial to be free. Not only because of their political opinion, which of course is a priority, but because given the challenge that we face today, we need activists, we need NGOs, we need people with who are experts and non-experts to hold the government accountable. The Egyptian regime, like others across the world, has made major mistakes in regards to the environment, and it can't be held accountable. It is not held accountable in the arena of politics, in the arena of corruption, in any kind of arena. Essentially, someone who writes a blog can be picked up and thrown in prison. Someone who writes an article will be picked up. In this environment in which we face a major challenge as humanity, we need journalists to be free to speak out. We need civil society to organize meetings and speak out. We don't have this in Egypt. And we want to ensure that in the country where COP is being held today, that the dictator, the general, does not play the old games that he has been playing for 9 years since the coup. And that is to try to ensure that he gains time and continues his dictatorial policies. He has done so through different means, saying that there is going to be a strategy for human rights. He's done through calling for a national dialogue. And he's done so now through, in a sense, hosting or being allowed to host COP27. And voices across the world are saying, no, we know what's happening. Even governments, democratic governments know what's happening in Egypt. But our request here today is to say, you're not doing enough. We need to speak out louder, but we need governments, democratic governments need to use serious leverage and conditionality in terms of their relationship with Egypt. Egypt is doing harm not only to its own people by the lack of freedoms and repression that continues, but it is doing harm to humanity at large, because 100 million people in Egypt today live in a republic of fear. They live in a big prison. They are afraid to speak. They're afraid to assemble. And assembly and freedom is key in our fight, our worldwide fight to protect the environment and to protect human rights. I'm going to stop here, Mohammed, because I think there are lots of questions that can be asked, There are issues we can debate, and maybe if we could do that once, either after I finish now or when you see appropriate, once all the speakers have spoken. Thank you very much.
Yeah.